Our astronauts arrived overnight at the International Space Station. The Dragon capsule pulled up to the ISS after a 27-hour fully automated flight from Kennedy Space Center. The crew is expected to remain on the space station until April. Many parents are downright mad over Governor Doug Burgum's decision to suspend all high school winter sports. And a petition is now going around to bring those activities back. Meanwhile, in Minnesota, some believe Governor Tim Walz will be making a similar announcement soon. Valley Today's Brian Sherrod joins us live this morning with the latest from both sides. Good morning, Brian.
And good morning, Lisa. You know, right now I'm outside of the Moorhead Sports Center where they're still able to have their practices as of right now, unlike North Dakota where, like you just mentioned, Governor Burgum just announced that they're no longer doing their winter sports, or I should say suspended until December 14th. So a huge difference between both states, and that's just being that close to their area border. But also letting you know, because of that suspension, parents put together a petition, and so far 5,000 signatures are on that petition. So this original announcement made to help stop the spread of COVID-19 and a suspension of all high school winter sports and extracurricular activities until December 14th, like I just mentioned. Now, those that have signed the petition so far says activities are beneficial for children's mental well-being, and these student-athlete parents wanting to know why all of a sudden this is no longer working.
Well, when kids are together 8 hours a day in the classroom, I don't understand why they can't be on the ice with masks, social distancing after school. And I don't understand how this decision helps keep kids in school.
Now, Minnesota Health Commissioner Jan Malcolm says health officials are urging a pause on winter high school sports. Governor Walz responds saying new guidance from the state could be issued in the next day or so. Now, infectious disease experts saying 10% of all cases in Minnesota schools are associated with sports. And as you can see on your screen, 46 in hockey, 41 in volleyball, 35 in football, 20 in basketball, and 15 in soccer. So as of right now, Governor Walz has not announced any restrictions, but I can let you know that he said the next day or so there's going to be some kind of mitigation when it comes to stopping the spread of COVID-19. We don't know what it is yet, but once we do find that out, we will update you with the latest.
Of course, make sure you have that BNL News app ready. We'll be pushing out that information as soon as we get it. Brian Sherrod reporting live. Thank you. Rising COVID cases have Grand Forks schools switching to distance learning from November 30th to December 22nd, with face-to-face learning resuming January 4th. This will be students' last week in the classroom. Next week, teachers will have 3 planning days prior to Thanksgiving break. Grand Forks is the only large school district in the state to complete the first trimester with students in the classroom full-time. No changes for now within the Fargo School District. Elementary students will continue with 4 in-person learning days per week. Middle and high school students will stay in their hybrid model until at least the new semester begins on January 19th. The task force meets again on December 7th. Dramatic scenes in Colombia as a huge wave crashed against the shore as strengthening Hurricane Iota churned through the region. The storm collided with northeastern Nicaragua overnight as a Category 4 hurricane and was packing maximum sustained winds of 155 miles per hour. Much quieter here in the valley, but we are dealing with some fog this morning. Let's get a check of that First Alert Storm Team forecast with Lisa Green.
Good morning. We're looking at conditions that are a little bit murky in parts of the Northern Valley. This is in Devil's Lake, our home of Economy Skycam there, showing vehicles going by, but they're driving through some soupy conditions this morning. And if you're going to be hitting the roads, be aware that your visibility is going to be down in some of these spots, and the roads themselves may be a little bit slick because temperatures are below freezing and concerns about freezing fog and maybe some frost on some of those road surfaces as well. And here's a look at our visibility reports. We are seeing some dense fog up in that area. Devil's Lake at the airport, we're at a half mile, and Rugby at a half mile visibility along Highway 2. And then Cando and Langdon, even more dense. We're looking at fog that's about a quarter of a mile in those locations. And surrounding areas seeing some a little bit better conditions, but still some lowering happening. The rest of us in general are seeing better weather as far as visibility is concerned, but it's cold throughout the valley. Here's a look at our current conditions. We've got some places in the single digits. Grand Grand Forks is one of them at 6 degrees right now. It is 10 in Fargo. Not much wind. In fact, a lot of calm reports coming in, so that doesn't have too much of an effect on your wind chill. And we're looking at temperatures into the teens in Fergus Falls and Bemidji, while Detroit Lakes is at 9. So a morning to get that heater cranked in your car a little sooner rather than later, and be ready for some chill out at the bus stop for the kids as well. So here's a look at our Commute Cast for today. Expect that fog potential, most likely up in the Devil's Lake area, though I can't rule out a couple of pockets of fog elsewhere. Otherwise, pretty quiet to start. And then as we take a look at your afternoon planner, temperatures will be slightly warmer today, back into some 20s and 30s. We'll see that wind pick up. And from there, we're going to warm up back into the 40s for tomorrow and into the day on Thursday as well.
All right, thank you, Lisa. The surge in coronavirus cases is prompting cities and states to reimpose limits on public gatherings and indoor spaces like restaurants and gyms. More than 1 million new infections were recorded in the U.S. in the last week, with hospitals in some parts of the country operating near capacity. Officials are warning that the nation's healthcare system is at risk of being overwhelmed. The downtown Fargo scene is usually full of lights and life, but overnight open signs went dark and people were sent home early. It was day one of North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum's new COVID guidelines, which limit capacity and cut hours of operation. Businesses must now limit their capacity to 50% or less, and they have to close their doors at 10 p.m. Bars and restaurants say it's about adapting, but also finding new ways to stay afloat, because they say the changes are really changing the dynamic of their businesses.
Beforehand, we had a lot of our sales were, to do with alcohol, beer sales, liquor, and those kind of things. And it's definitely shifted the percentage towards a lot more food. It changes the kind of different staffing we have on.
Some bar owners say this weekend will be the true test of how the community feels about these new regulations. They say they hope everything runs smoothly and that people remain respectful. A North Dakota lawmaker is under fire for threatening messages on Facebook. After the governor's announcement late Friday, Dickinson Representative Luke Simons wrote that he won't recognize the new restrictions and won't comply with them. He said, quote, "Out west, big mouths that talk big usually get taught a lesson, a physical lesson they don't soon forget," unquote. Simon says he wasn't threatening anyone and only responding to threats pointed at him.
I've had all kinds of threats against me. And then I get those same people in my office and I give them a cup of coffee and we leave friends. Why do we talk like this to each other when you're behind a screen? That's what I'm saying.
Simons owns a barber shop. Last spring, he threatened to reopen if the governor extended business closures. In our consumer alert this morning, CVS customers can go contactless at checkout. Customers can now pay touch-free with PayPal or Venmo at more than 8,000 standalone CVS locations. No more touching a keypad or signing a receipt. Customers just need to open either the PayPal or Venmo mobile app and click the scan button, selecting the Show to Pay option. According to CVS, PayPal does not charge fees when customers pay with PayPal or Venmo. A woman is in the hospital after a high-speed chase and crash in Fargo. It happened just before 8 last night in the 700 block of 18th Street North. Fargo Fire tells us the driver had been speeding and lost control, then slammed into a wall of the Miracle Express building. She was trapped in the vehicle and had to be cut out of it by firefighters. There's no word this morning on her condition. A man police suspected in connection with a domestic disturbance is in jail. It happened around 8 yesterday morning in the 2800 block of 4th Avenue North in Moorhead. Christopher Langner was arrested for domestic assault, damage to property, and for a burglary warrant. A Grand Forks man is facing charges of illegally possessing a firearm. Aaron Smith had an active warrant out for his arrest and was stopped for violating a city ordinance yesterday. Police say as they tried to arrest him, he tried to get something from his pocket. Officers subdued him, then found a gun with 2 loaded magazines in his pocket. Smith is not supposed to have a firearm because he's a convicted felon. The winner of a Powerball ticket purchased in North Dakota this summer is almost out of time to cash in. It expires on December 3rd. The ticket was sold between June 4th and June 6th at a Cashwise in Bismarck. The winning numbers, 1, 17, 38, 68, 69, and the Powerball was 18. The prize was $50,000, but the player also purchased the Power Play option, so the prize doubled to $100,000. Let's get our answer now to our question of the morning on Facebook. This is the #1 item lost in a household. I would agree. The answer? Socks. The Today Show and CBS This Morning are just about to start. But remember, the Valley Today rolls on. Join us right now for more live, up-to-the-minute news and weather right now on the Fargo CW.